Okay, welcome back to Real Cast Fishing. Your host, Glenn with the City Valley Fishing Field Team, COAF on YouTube. And this round, what I want to do for you is just talk about a little bit fishing that I did just down the road from me. Let's see, let me mute this real quick and just let it run in the background. So what you're seeing here is yours truly fishing a local pond in the city of Murphy. They just started about, I believe, 2 weeks ago. And they had a trout derby and whatnot the day before or the week before. And it seemed like a lot of folks were able to catch a fish or two. I went back out there and tried doing a little, well, catch and cook style. And what ended up happening is I got several on the line fly fishing using various lures and whatnot. But they either threw the hook on me or at times also... well, they threw the hook on me, as well as when I was bringing it in, having to go over that greenery that you'll see in the foreground. Had a little hard time, well, getting those trout over the junk, and so that's what kind of detracted from being able to get what I normally do is get a limit when I'm out there fishing. Let me just say hi in the chat just to make sure that we have folks and some connectivity there. Initially, let's go close out a deal here. Okay, all right. So this is a small pond just down the road from me, from the city of Allen. It's called Murphy City Complex Pond, and they stocked it with a number of trout. Had a derby there, and normally when I fish this, I'll either go and limit out using fly fishing gear, as well as taking out some ultralight bait casting gear, aka Bait Finesse Systems gear. And what happened this round was several things. One, the trout were there. I saw the folks across from me doing well, catching some trout pretty much consistently. It looked like they were using power bait, be it the dough bait style, as well as some power worms and power eggs. Initially, I did see some other folks out there with some corn doing well. I tried out using a simple olive woolly bugger style lure or a fly, an olive near deer, as well as a Guadalupe Anna, and then some other ones to include a squirmy worm and a couple of other flies. And then I also shifted over to some dry flies and was getting some hits, but unfortunately the part that was really where I was having issues was all that greenery. Let me see if I can get my cursor over here. Okay. All this green stuff, right? Let me see. I don't know if you guys can see the cursor. Okay, there it is. All right, here. So that's about maybe 10 to 15 feet out. So when I got the trout on the line and I'm trying to bring them in and lift them above that, that's where I was losing the trout. Had about maybe, I'd say 3 or 4 consistent strikes or trout on the line. But again, I had a hard time there. I did that for about an hour or so. Just trying to really push, trying to get one on the fly. But I ended up having to make some shifts or changes, and what actually started working was going back to the Bait Finesse ultralight bait casting. And in this case, let me see if I can flip over to it. Here, I'll just walk through. Here's where I'm just going to walk over to the other end, take a look at maybe some other options. I think I was going to switch this out from the Flyrod and go with the ultralight bait casting gear. In this case, I'm going to go with the Flight Feather Kingfisher bait casting reel right there. And it's a one that can handle 1 gram trout magnets. I think later on I end up trying casting some of those. But what I'll do is I'll shift over to a Gold Super Duper. Okay, and the key thing about the Gold Super Duper is typically you want to fish it slow. It has a little snap on there, but you want to tie your line directly to that snap. You don't want to add a swivel to it. That will also detract from the action that it imparts as it goes through the water. So here I'm just going to cast it out. I'll start with a slow retrieve and initially a 5 to 10 count retrieve, casting it out there. Immediately I started getting hits, so I was getting some hits on the fly, but again, not as consistent as I did when I shifted over to the ultralight bait casting gear, going with those super dupers. Okay. All right, there's one on the line. Okay, he threw the hook on me, I believe. Yeah. All right, so that happened about like 2-3 times, and then I finally hook up with one. I didn't limit out this round, but I did, well, just verify again that this pond consistently, year in, year out, I think this is now about the 5th, 6th year that they've stocked this pond, is to start out with a gold super duper. I think this was the 502, so a little bit heavier than what I normally use, and I'm casting it on ultralight bait casting gear. 4-pound test, trilene, mono, no braid, just straight mono, and I'm casting it out, slow retrieve, just enough to give it a little wiggle, and that is enough to get the fish to strike. Ended up getting 2 that I kept, I think I did like a broiled trout, spicy trout recipe with it, but in the end, I probably would have done better if I started out with the super duper instead of going with the flies or the fly fishing. When I went with the Flyrod, I did have some fish on the line. Just again, all that green stuff in the foreground that you see right over here, where my cursor is, or just on that foreground. That green stuff was really the hard part of just getting those trout over that junk without throwing the hook on me. Here, I'll catch one. Oh no, I missed him again. Okay, well, we'll try it again. Again, cast it out, 5 to 10 count before I start reeling in, and then just kind of slow it in there. All right. Outdoor Roman, I'm at 49 subs from 500. Outstanding. Yeah, great to hear, Roman. All right. Okay, so we're just going to bring it in slowly. Okay, and I'm going to feel the strike as well as I'll see the initial tap on the rod. Okay, so got him in. Nope, missed him again. All right, so it was pretty much, normally I wouldn't have all that green stuff there, so I could have brought that lure in a lot closer and took advantage of that extra distance, because it's about 10 foot into the pond where things are, well, not doing so well. Here, bear with me. I got to go on mute real quick. All right, I had to sneeze there. Let me go ahead and run the video sound so you can hear what's happening here. Okay. Okay, so I'm just kind of clearing the line, cast it out here again. And as you can see, ultralight bait casting, no problem casting a 502 on this outfit. Okay, feeling for that strike. Okay. And notice it's a slow retrieve. I tried a faster retrieve as well as a stop and go retrieve, and it just didn't work. It was just get it out there, do a short or long count. Here it looks like I'm doing a 5 to 6 count, and now I'm just going to slowly reel it in. I can feel the lure kind of moving through, and it's almost like when the trout strikes, it'll be a short like peck or strike on the lure. It's almost like I'm hooking some weeds and whatnot, but I can start feeling the surge, or at least the trout pulling against the rod, and I know I've got them on there. So I ended up missing about 3 or 4, and then I ended up getting 2. Missed a few more, and then I went and did some. I think I put a trout magnet on just to see if I could see how that one would flow, and well, see how that went. Anyhow, here it is again, right there. I missed him. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. I can feel him just kind of tapping it. Okay. And that's probably about the 5th or 6th strike now. Okay. And before that, when I was fly fishing, I'd say maybe it was 1 every 10 minutes or so that I was getting a little strike and whatnot. This one, some pretty quick strikes, one after the other. Just trying to get them to stay on that hook was the key. All right. And from a gold super duper standpoint, it's a U-shaped looking lure that You know, surprisingly, doesn't look like much, but it definitely will catch some trout. It's been a consistent one for yours truly over the years. Had some really good success. The main thing was just kind of finding where the trout were lurking, what depth. Are they high in the water column? Or are they low in the water column? And additionally, the pattern, or in this case, the retrieve. What I found out here was a slow retrieve, 5 to 10 count before I started reeling in, and then a slow retrieve. Other cases where I've cast it out and it's been a slow or steady retrieve with no count. Initially, I've done the stop and go retrieve. Just got to play with it. But once you do find that pattern, stick with it until they quit, and then make some adjustments from there. Here in this case, I stuck with the slow retrieve, and I will get a couple that I was able to take back and, well, have a little lunch deal for yours truly. All righty. All right. So anyways, yeah, I was kind of surprised that I didn't hook up as many as I could, but I also was surprised as how much of that green algae-like stuff was growing on the banks. I didn't expect that. And I know we had some cold temps that morning, as well as some cold temps a few weeks before that. So I was suspecting that maybe the water would be much clearer compared to what it is and when I did show up. All right. The guys over there on the pier or that fencing area, they're doing pretty good. They're doing some consistent trout using power bait, the dough bait style, as well as some of the power eggs. I did see some folks with some power worms that were doing well. Okay, looks like we got another individual joining. Hi, Carter Short. Howdy, howdy. Thanks for joining. Just talking some trout and recapping. Yours truly having a little, well, go with some trout at the local pond that was stocked a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. Okay. And I was using fly fishing gear initially, had some strikes there, had a little hard time getting it over that green stuff and getting the hooks and flies thrown, trying to bring them in. But when I shifted over here, they got more consistent bites and eventually ended up getting 2 of these guys. And so, well, that's fishing, yeah. Anyhow, other things that I've been doing here since this trip, did several pond ultralight bait casting sessions at the local pond, inline spinners and whatnot, and I did notice that there are some bass and bluegill moving about in the shallows, so they're starting to move more closer to shore. We did get another front to kind of throw things for a whack again, so Friday we hit the 80s. And sure enough, the next day we went back down to the high 30s. So, well, that's Texas, you know, the weather changing on us and whatnot. But, yeah, that was pretty good, being able to make those adjustments. I did find that the inline spinners, steady retrieve, seem to be working well for our local ponds. There's one on finally. So this is about 6-7 miss hook sets, and then finally I get this guy on the line. Slow retrieve. Slow retrieve was the key. All right.
All right. Bunch of misses, but finally got one on the super duper to stay on. I was saying earlier we had 4 on the fly, and they threw it on me. And then had several other hits on the fly as well, but it looks like it's going to be super dupers this round.
Oh, yeah, and so it was cold enough that I just threw them in a little Walmart bag here and just kept them handy, and then went back out to fishing again. So that's what worked for this round, gold super dupers. I have been hitting up those local ponds and whatnot, and we did go to TRWD, Trinity Regional, or Trinity Fly Fest yesterday, and I had some good success seeing some folks.
Same one that we used back at Town Lake, and on top of it, it's the same pattern like we've seen in past years, where you count the 6 or 10 and then retrieve. Big thing this round is we got all this greenery on the side, so it kind of bothers everything for us. So you gotta lift it up, and that's how I lost several of the trout that I had on the fly, where I was lifting it up out of the greenery, and well, bummer, but hey, that's fishing. Let's see if we get another one.
And like I was saying, we did hit Trinity Fly Fest, and that's pretty much the place where.
Countdown, and then a steady, just a slow retrieve here. Sometimes they're hitting it out further, sometimes closer. Bottom line, you're fishing it slow, just keeping it out of the greenery. Several hits, but that was the first one to actually hook up, so let's see if we get another one.
Note the slow retrieve and that countdown. And right at the tail end of the cast, I'm having to lift up or kind of jerk the rod or the lure out of the water so I get over that green stuff that would definitely clobber my line. But when that happens, and ends up happening is I twist the line around my rod, and I have to go and clear that before I do the next cast. So that's what's happening here. And now I've just snagged the ground, so I got to clear that out. So, hey, the perils of fishing, you know. It's not always as easy as we anticipate. So there's another cast out, countdown, and then that slow retrieve. Ah, man. Woo! Yeah. That seemed to be the case this round. So, now, anyways, if you do have the opportunity to make it out to the local ponds, it's starting to wind down when it comes to the trout stocking season here in Texas. Let me go ahead and mute this. Yeah, the trout stockings in Texas are going to be closing out here this month, March. Additionally, if you are fishing locally, cross the from North Texas into Oklahoma, hitting the Blue River, one of our favorite spots to be fishing for trout during the trout stocking season. They've opened up the catch and release section into a put and take section now. So all trout in the river are open, fair game, as long as you just stay within the legal limits in the regulation. So if you're in the North Texas area, you have an opportunity to get out there to the Blue River, I'd say go for it. There are some nice carryovers from the catch and release section, as well as some of those nice size trout that were released during the Trout Derby. I believe it was weekend of the 15th or 14th of February. Additionally, if you are in the local area, when I say local, Dallas, Fort Worth area, and the opportunity to make it to Fort Worth, over there where they held Trinity Fly Fest yesterday, I would say give that an opportunity or a chance, because you will have the opportunity to catch some of those 3 to 5 pound trout that they stocked. It's pretty much a put and take fishery. Things are going to warm up on us, so they definitely want you to catch them. And I highly suggest that maybe take a look at some of the videos that you've seen from past TRWD Fly Fest. Just go in the channel, TRWD Fly Fest. Maybe even put in COAF Field Team in your search, and usually that should pop up in the Google search fairly high up on the list. Okay, and when you do go there, where they stocked the larger trout is downriver from the bridge where they normally stock at the trailhead, just upriver from the Acme headquarters brick company. So you actually want to be fishing right by the Acme headquarters brick company where the banks are, where it hits the Trinity. There are several deep pockets and holes that they'll be lurking, but mind you, there may be some trout even further downstream where they may have gone over that low water crossing. And again, there are some nice ones out there. I saw a 25.5-inch size trout 23, 22, 20s, 18s, a number of the 15s being caught during yesterday's Trinity Fly Fest Big Trout Fly Fishing Contest. And that was a catch and release day. So yesterday they were there. Today, hopefully, maybe there are still a few out there, if not more, given that it's the following day from Fly Fest. So you probably have a good next few days, if not week, to get a chance at catching some of those guys. What seems to work, mice tails, power worms, and whatnot seem to work fairly well if you're going with traditional gear. Fly fishing gear, just I would say a similar pattern, maybe squirmy worms, woolly buggers, near deer, streamers. Just get it down deep quickly where they'll be lurking in some of those pockets and holes. And don't be surprised, they may be at your feet, because some places when you're fishing the Trinity, just a few feet off where you're standing is some deep water, and you may get yourself an opportunity to catch a fish or two over there. So, but hey, this was the pond fly fishing as well as ultralight bait casting that I was doing. What worked over here was the Gold Super Duper. Over the course of the next few weeks, I'll be shifting over to some warm water pond fishing, be it fly fishing for bass, if not ultralight bait casting for bass. Looking for the spawn to start and hopefully start catching some of those bigger bass that tend to be found lurking on their beds here in the next few weeks as the weather warms up. Additionally, may see if I can maybe make that trip to the local pond, if not up to Denison, for some of those striped bass, local lake at Lavon for possibly some jug line catfishing once things warm up. And then make me a run up to Denison Dam for some of those striped bass that'll be lurking up there. So got a lot of things in the mix. Looking forward to the warmer weather coming up and the opportunity to catch some of these other bass. I did dust off the crossbow, and I'm going to be out there doing some crossbow fishing, hopefully for some of these carp, because I'm going to chop them up, some nice sized pieces, and make that run to the local tail race, Denison Dam, for a chance at those gar. I'm hoping to get some of those 3 to 4 to 7 foot plus gar that seem to be lurking down there or up there. So stay tuned for that one here as the weather warms up. All right, and we get away from this cold weather and into the warmer weather season. And again, just looking forward to it. So this was the trip to Murphy, and I just wanted to give you a recap of some of the pond fishing for trout. Do open up if you have any questions. I will stand by if you have any questions here. Also, I could possibly shift over to some other videos I may have. I think I've got one that you might want to take a look at. But here, let me see if I can find it here. I'm going to let that one run in the background while I'm looking for it. Okay. Pond. Oh, okay, here it is. All right, bear with me. I'm going to shift the video. Okay. I think I have to double click on it here. Okay, open up. There. Okay. All right, let me shift that over. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, here's yours truly getting ready to do some pond ultralight bait casting. I'm going to use this inline spinner and see if I can get a fish or two. So let me just kind of flip through here and take you to some of the action. Okay. Right. Here. I think what happened was it was still cold and ended up making it to one of the back ponds. And I was looking for where some of these guys may be lurking, and where they ended up being was in this one. Yeah, here we go. This back cove area. All right. You can see I'm doing a steady retrieve here. And I'm using a 1/16 ounce rooster tail, inline rooster tail. And, well, let me go ahead and run the sound.
Oh, there's a hit. All right. Okay. Another fishy. That's a big dog. Look at that. Big dog. Oh, they're smaller though. The other two were bigger than this, so definitely different fish. But hey, it's still fun. Big finesse style. Big finesse style. Oh, let me adjust so you get a better angle. Okay, right there. Big dog. Okay, we cast the same spot. Maybe they're just lurking. There's another hit. Yeah. Okay. They must be lurking over there by the channel. And pretty decent cast from here. And I'm mainly doing it because the wind is at a crosswind here. So that's helping out.
Okay, just to give you a recap, what's happened here is I've gone out. It's a very windy day, and I'm using this ultralight bait casting gear that is very touchy when it comes to the wind. If you get a really strong wind in front of you, you may have to do a little thumb education to get that line or that lure to cast out without getting a backlash. And so just to kind of minimize that risk, I went ahead and put the wind to where it was crosswind from me, so coming left to right, and that definitely helped in being able to cast here. The only thing is I had to cast and aim more to my left to try hitting this one culvert where there was a channel where these little bass were lurking. So it was working though. All right, and again, I think I titled this stream Pond Fishing for Trout Recap. We did that recap initially, and now we're just kind of shift the subject since we still have time on the stream to just talk fishing. And I'm just taking you to a session where I went pond ultralight bait casting using some BFS gear for some of these little trout that are, bass that are lurking in our ponds. And heads up, there'll be more lurking here sooner, and they'll be bigger because we've got that spawn coming up.
Versus if I'm casting over there, I'd be casting into the wind, and that may be a little tough with getting some loose lines on the spool. All right. Okay. See if we get another one to strike. And they seem to be kind of lurking over there by the culvert. Okay. Back out that way. Okay. Just kind of twitch it a little to get that blade moving. Didn't feel like it was moving. Come on, come on. Nope, no takers there. All right, let's try it again. Had that short tap earlier. Not feeling it this time. Okay, let's recast. Got some junk in the trunk here. Let's clear that. The greenery. Okay. All right, let's pop it back out there. Okay, I feel the blade moving. No. Mainly trying to fish that channel. So I'm trying to keep it in there as much as I can. Then once I'm out of it, I'm reeling it in instead of reeling it slowly the whole way. Because, well, we're going to call it quits here in a moment. Okay. All right, let's do last cast. Unless I catch something, of course. All right. Oh, look at that. That's not the last cast. Yeah. Another bass. This one feels like the other two that we caught earlier. No, another small one. Hey, I used to drive my kids nuts. I'd tell them last cast, and then I'd catch a fish. And it turned out it was not the last cast because what I'd do, I'd go ahead and keep fishing. All right. Another one on the line. All right. BFS style. Okay, cool beans. Loving it. me clear my line here. Got a little wrapped around the thing, and well, I said it was the last cast, but true to form, I got one, so I'm gonna have to cast again, is what that tells me. All right, let's see. Come on. No. All right, let's reel it in. There's that one spot that seems to be the money zone. See if that's the case. Come on, come on. Yeah, I said last cast, but when you catch a fish, you gotta continue a few more casts just in case. Make sure it's not a fluke. There's the hit. All right, ultralight bait casting style. Last cast becomes more than one last cast. This is now, I think, cast number 5. I think this is bass number 10. And it's definitely not the 2 that we caught earlier in the stream. They're all smaller. So, hey, no biggie though. Oh, I'm gonna need to grab the forceps. This guy took it a little bit deeper than make it a little tough for me to get him. Drop my lure or my rod. Okay. Just kind of do a little something to get that hook out. Come on, almost got you. All right, I see it. This guy ran in on it. Okay. All right, I see it. Nah, take it deep. I have to get it from behind. Let's see. Yep, there it is. So, get it from behind. So someone had told me flip the bass over and come in through the gills in the back here and see if you can get it loose. Yep, there it is. And you should be able to release them unharmed still. Okay, so, okay, I got it loose. Almost loose. Yeah, there we go. Got it loose. We'll just kind of pick up the lure out of there. There we go. All right, let's get him back. All right, there he goes. I see him swimming off. He's good to go. Let's see. That was last cast plus. Let's see if we can do it again here. Because, well, they're still biting. I can't leave them. I can't leave them if they're still biting. That's like a, it's like a rule of thumb. Can't leave them when they're still biting. Okay, so steady retrieve, keeping her over there by that channel. If they get past that channel, just reel it in fast and cast again. Okay, so last cast turns out to be 3 more bass. Okay, working it in there again. Oh, there's a tap. He tapped it. Okay. Yeah. Let's try it again. Let's go back that way. Oh no, wrong spot. That's not the channel. We'll bring that one back. Bring it back. Let's try it again. Okay. Okay, it's a little bit past, but we'll try it. Okay. Nope. All right. Bring it in. Normally I'd fish the whole retrieve, but we're short on time and I'm trying to really fish that channel. Drop it right in there. And then once I get past that channel, then I'll bring it back. Okay. All right, let's see. So last cast turns out to 3 bass. Let's see what this cast does. Okay, no. No takers. All right, let's do it. Okay, this is gonna be the last cast. I'm gonna try dropping it on the other side of the channel and then work it in. All right. This is the last cast. Come on. Wait. That doesn't count. Blade wasn't on there right. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's what I told my kids. Blade wasn't spinning right. I got redo it. All right. This will be the last one, unless I catch a fish again. Yeah. I guess it's not the last cast. And this one looks like more like the size we were catching earlier here. All right, so last cast turns out to be 4 bass. Oh no, he's still smaller. Yeah, the other ones are probably about another 3-4 inches bigger.
All right, so that's just a great example of how I used to fish when I had my kids with me, and I would tell them, that's my last cast, but when I catch a fish, that would, skip that, and I would keep fishing, because bottom line, you can't count that as a last cast. You got to fish bite and fish on. It doesn't count. You get to keep going. Anyhow, appreciate y'all joining, and do look forward to the upcoming warm water fishing season, where I'll be out there again, hitting local ponds initially, and then shifting over to some kayak fishing, jug lining, crossbow fishing, and then maybe targeting some of those big gar that we got in some of our rivers here in Texas. And additionally, we've got that run to the coast that we like doing every year. Plan on doing it again, and this time I plan on doing that with the ultralight bait casting combo, the BFS Corrado XG, using a treble hook and no other hardware other than the monofilament line that I'll be using, and some live mullet. Okay, so fishing for some nice size speckled trout and redfish under the lights, hopefully on the Texas coast here sooner than later. So stay tuned for more of that, as well as, these quick trips that I make at these local ponds. Those always are great, fun things to do on the fly, especially when I do the mobile fishing live stream setup. Okay, so appreciate you joining today. This was the Pond Fishing for Trout recap, Real Cast Fishing podcast. With your host, Glenn, with the City Valley Fishing Field Team, COAF Field Team on YouTube. All right. Thanks again for joining. Good luck.